Right, well, we're going to start the alignment of the Realistic DX160. So the capacitors have been changed, which we did in part 1. We've built a interface thing, the IC dummy antenna, which was part 1A. And I'm doing it on this bench because if we go on the main RF bench, it's an overhead camera only, so you can't see any results like we're going to be able to see the S-meter. The service manual suggests using an oscilloscope and a vacuum tube voltmeter, which we could do. We could use a cyanide meter, we could use all kinds of things, but we can do it on the S-meter. I've got a dead cheap and simple signal generator there, and we also have, if I can just move the camera up, I've got it on a frequency counter. So the first thing we're doing on the service manual is the first part here, and it's section 1, 455 kilohertz. Now the service manual suggests that you connect the output of the signal generator to variable capacitor 3 or 4 through a 0.1 microfarad capacitor. What we've done is just to loose couple it. So I've got a wire dangling in the vicinity. That's all we need to do, because it's not like the set is faulty, it just needs aligning. And what we're going to be looking for is, as my boss would have said when I was solely in the two-way radio, maximum smoke. So we've got the S-meter to look at. I've got the volume up, full. I can adjust it with the RF gain, and you can see we've got movement on the meter. So the first one we're going to do is T16, which is the red coil. So the red coil there, T16. We're looking for maximum. There we are. And the next one's the white coil, T17. And finally, T18, the black coil. So there we are, we've aligned 455 kilohertz. I don't think it's made any difference, because it's probably not out of adjustment in that way. But we need to make sure this is absolute peak performance, and that's what I'm here to do. So I'm going to pause the camera, because now incidentally, that was with band E and set to 30 megs, just for your information there. But it's all in the service manual, and that's downloadable. So I can now put away the those connections, and we'll go over to using the dummy antenna box that I made, and we'll make sure that the input actually goes into the input and the output goes to the output. So I'll just pause the camera. Right, so that brings us to step number 5, and step number 5 is to align 170 kilohertz. So we're on band A, and we've got the signal generator through the IEC dummy antenna, and we have for all the following adjustments up to 39. So by carefully using the RF gain to attenuate, the first thing we need to do is to set T11, which is the oscillator coil, and T11, according to the service manual, is the end one there. And then it's T1, which is the actual antenna coil. And that will be, we'll put a dab of glue on there to set that new position. And then T6, which is the RF coil. And I think you can hear how that's come up on this very first one. So we'll back the RF gain down, and then we'll go through those again. Yep, they are set. So the next thing we're going to do is to set it to 380 kilohertz. So we'll just pause the camera while I reset everything. Okay, so now we're on the 380 hertz setting. So we go first of all for CT6, which is that one at the end. My goodness, that was miles out. And then we go over to the antenna trimmer VC1. Just drop down the RF gain. Yep. And then to CT1. And again, drop down the RF gain and repeat TC6. Antenna trim, RF gain down a bit more. Wow, that's a tremendous difference on that one. So presumably that's long wave actually done now. Just out of interest and without an external aerial, I'm just going to turn the signal generator. I'll just unplug the signal generator. Just out of interest, we'll see how lively it is now on long wave, just on its ferrite rod.
In the past hour, the White House has announced President Trump will declare a national emergency to secure funding for his border wall with Mexico.
And that's Radio 4.
Trump's Press Secretary Sarah Sanders said he would also sign a funding bill to avert another government.
So yes, it's starting to come together.
British teenager who travelled to Syria to join.
Right, well it's 9 o'clock and I'll pack this in till okay, so the next day we move on to stage 12, which is band B. So we've got the radio on band B. We've got 600 kilohertz tuned in, so this is the medium wave broadcast band. I've added a audio millivolt meter to make the job easier, because the S meter on the radio is wanting more signal than I'm wanting to give it for optimum results. So we're using the audio millivolt meter, which you've seen me use plenty of times before, one built into the Synad instrument, and our next adjustment is T12. And so T12 is the oscillator coil. So it's that one there. Wow, that's a bit stiff. In fact, they're probably all a bit. Last thing you want to do is break one. I've actually broken the tool. Right, pause the video. Okay, having unfrozen that and got a new tool. Wow. It was a huge difference, you know, when we did band A, which is a long wave. And it looks like we've got a huge difference again with medium wave. So move on to T2, which is the antenna coil. I'm being thick. Turn the RF gain up a bit. There we go. And onto T7, the RF coil. And T7 is there. Wow. God, I bet this performed abysmally. So I'll just do those again. Excellent. And now we move to 1400 kilohertz. So we'll just reset the signal generator. Okay, so we're on the 1.4 setting now, 1400 kilocycles. I can't hear a thing. So there we go. Must be miles out. So CT7 is the oscillator trimmer. CT7 is the second one in. Antenna trimmer. And CT2, the RF trimmer. Interesting. Right, we're going to have to skip stage 15 to 18 because 1400 isn't showing up on the receiver, so there must be something gone out of value which is throwing the scale out. It looks to me like 1400 is coming up on 1800 or something like that. So what we're going to do is we'll skip that, we'll go back to it, and we'll do 1700. So we're now on band C, and we're going to be, we've got the radio tuned to 1700 1.7, and we're going to go for transformer 13, which is step 19. So transformer 13 is the third one in. Transformer 3, which is the antenna coil. Transformer 3 is that one at the big front. Just knock the attenuator down. Yep. And then transformer 8 is the RF coil, T8. So that was about where it should have been. So now we'll move over to the 4 meg coil, still remaining on band C. So we're now going on to the 4 megs ones. We've got 4 megs on the signal generator and it's CT8. CT8, which is the third one in. Antenna trim and CT3. Wow. Yep, I'll just double check all that. I think that's about where we are. And now it's time to move to band D, and we'll reset the signal generator for 5 megs. So now we're on 5 megs. And I heard it further down the band, it's just not quite in the right place. So it's T14 for the oscillator coil. So that's 4th one in, 1, 2, 3, 4. That sounds like a damaged core to me. 4 and 9. Two, 3, 4. And 9. Yeah, I'll have to look into why that coil's made a nasty kind of noise. Right, well that was quite difficult, because what's happened is when I turned that coil, you can see I've unsoldered it and put it back again. It was actually the plastic, it was actually the former that snapped. I can't really show you that. So I've had to unsolder it, piece it back together, and what had happened is one of the wires had snapped off, which is not surprised because the kind of core was stuck in it and it had snapped the former. So anyway, at least I've been able to realign that. So that's now covered. So that was coil T14. So then I've been able to move forwards with T4 and then T9, and then we've got that as good as possible. So we're going to move forwards now to the 12 meg setting, and again that's on band D. So I'll just set the signal generator to 12 megs. Okay, so we're now on 12 megs setting. So 12 megs on the dial, 12 megs on the signal generator. We're hearing nothing. It's full RF gain, so it's clearly out of kilter on the dial. So CT9 is the oscillator trimmer. So that's the fourth one from the right. Okay, the antenna trimmer on the front panel, and CT4 the RF trimmer. That doesn't sound as sensitive as it should be, I mean that's tuned, but I'll just look into whether that's right. It's actually on a false lock point, so there's plenty of it now. So now we'll move over to 14 megs. So set the signal generator and we're on band E. So on the 14 megs we're on band E, the final band. And so it's T15, which, looking at the pattern, will be the end one on the left. When I can find it, that is. T 15, 5 and 10. Yes. That should be T15. So for some reason this one doesn't want to turn from the top, so we'll do it from underneath. And then hopefully T4 is next. T4. Sorry, I'm telling you the wrong one. It's T5, which is the end one on the left. And again, quite an increase. And T10. Which is the middle one on the left. So we'll go through those again. And that one that didn't want to play ball. There we go. Just check those other two. Again, we've been able to get another fraction out of it. There we go. Good. And that leaves us with the final one, which is 28 megs. So I'll pause the camera while we reset everything. Right, that should be tuned back in. So we'll go to 28 megs on the dial. Not that I can hear it. Right, let's see whether we can tune it in. So it's CT10, which presumably is the end one. It is. Oh, well, I haven't found it yet. It's a shadow, isn't it? And CT5. I'll come back to that on the camera when we can find where the signal's gone. Right, so we're back to doing that final 28 meg setting with CT10 and the antenna trimmer. And there we have it now set. I went through the board for dry joints, even though they didn't look like there were any. So just remade all the soldered joints on that band, and I went through again with the service all switch cleaner on the wave change switch, and we've now got the 28 megs set between CT10, VC1 and CT5. So that concludes all those settings. Now we need to backtrack on that medium wave 1400 one. I'll just go back on that and see whether we've cured it with those other dry joints. And finally, we've backtracked on the 1400 meg 1400 kilocycle 1.4 meg medium wave setting, and what I had to do is to find it on the dial and then move it slowly to where we want it to be, or where it should be, with the two adjustments, CT7 and CT2. So that is now aligned as per manual. So the next thing we're going to do is to set up the BFO. And what we have to do is to set the BFO control to 9 o'clock, it says. So we will do that. I'll just read the manual first and then we'll just come back to the video. So moving on to the BFO, the service manual says, confirm that the BFO capacitor is fully meshed with the BFO control at 9 o'clock. If not, reset the knob on the shaft, which we did. Set the mode switch to SSB and put the BFO to 1 o'clock, which we have done. Connect an antenna, which we've done. I've just got a bit of wire out of the building. And maximum reading on the S meter, we've got some shortwave station here. Set of VTVM, we're using an electronic digital meter to the 1.5 volt range, and connect it between transformer 20 secondary and the chassis ground. What I've got done is to put it on to resistor 39, which is a convenient point, and we're going to adjust T19 for 0 beat. So T19 is the left hand one of these, which we will do now. There we have 0 beat, and then we need the measuring that voltage I just mentioned. If I can find that again, and we're looking for maximum deflection. So I've got 0.12 of a volt at the moment. And that's maximised that. So that's the BFO setup. So I've shoved a bit of wire out of the window, and all of about 20 feet long, and on the 40 metre band I've been able to quickly tune in this Italian SSB station. So that's a good indication that it's actually working. And a quick tune around the 7 megacycles, and we've got some CW. Some of this is very fast. It's certainly beyond my 14 words a minute.
Served as Hal Wilson's personal and political secretary, has died at the age of 86. He was a controversial figure.
So we've got here the long wave on, which is radio 4. Obviously there's a lot of electrical noise. It's an all electric building, and we haven't got much of an aerial.
This train has
day after its high-profile launch. The Bombay Bharat Express, which can reach speeds of more than 110 miles an hour.
So go over to medium wave. There's not much around here on that. I would think that's Radio Norwich, which is about 90 miles away.
For our economy, for our national security, and I also believe...
That looks to be talk radio. So we'll go over to the first shortwave band. I'm not expecting much at all during the day on the short aerial. So that's the 1.5 to 4 band. .5 to... Yeah, we did see the amateur activity earlier, didn't we, on 7 megs? And finally 28 megs downwards. And again I demonstrated 14 in SSB. So we're on about 17.9 looking at the dial. We know the dial's pretty accurate because of the alignment.
Also hit the court for the contact. For CRI News, I'm Bunjie.
Check out Language Cafe, where we take you through the ins and outs of the English language, showing you how to use those words and expressions that are just native English speaker Lincoln and his co-host Van Wayne take a look at a new idiom in every episode and tell you exactly how to use it. The Language Cafe, and make those funky words your own.
Welcome to Language Cafe, where learning is fun and fun is learning. I'm Lincoln.
I am Mandling.
Mandling, actually, this word or phrase that we're looking at today was suggested to me by our colleague, and he suggested we look at the...
So it's about 15.6 megs there. I'm also not helped here by having 11,000 volt power lines which feed this building, because we're in the middle of nowhere here, half a mile from the nearest neighbour, and so we've got our own substation on a pole right outside the property, so that never helps. Oh, that's back to 14 meters. So there's some activity, despite it being a Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. And as you can tell from when we started this project in retuning and aligning the DX160, it was as deaf as a post, and the dial was all over the place. So we know the dial's accurate, and we know the tuning is as good as we're going to get it. I can't tell you any figures because the signal generator I've just done the alignment on doesn't have a calibrated attenuator. But I will put it on one of the other test sets, which I don't have a camera I can't get a camera anywhere near, and I'll put some comments in if I feel that the sensitivity isn't what it says in the service manual, and that's stated as round about 3 and 4 microvolts for the bands which I'm interested in as a radio ham, with a never exceed 10 microvolts. Broadcast band is 50 microvolts for long wave and 100 microvolts for medium wave, so that's fine. But it's those figures. I will just check. I'll do some spot checks, and I'll put some comments in if it isn't as the manual says. So there you have it. That's the Realistic DX160. We're going to use this to do some ham radio on 1.8 megs, and we'll see whether it fits the bill. I'll do some others as these. As I say, we've got all the Realistic range somewhere in the storeroom, and it's time I did go through them. So it's been an interesting project. I've never done a shortwave receiver before, but follow the manual and use the right test equipment. Thank you for watching.